Welcome back, viewers, as we enter the semi-final round of the 2022 Engen Pitch and Polish competition. As you can imagine, with 4 contestants left standing, the pressure is really mounting. Unbeknown to them, I'm about to increase their stress levels. You definitely want to stay tuned for this. Hello, contestants, and congratulations on making it to the semi-finals. Did you guys watch the 2021 Pitch and Polish competition? Now, you would remember that the semi-finalists had to present to a surprise panel, which was kids. Well, you're not getting that lucky. Now, I'm gonna pull out your names out of this bag, and in the order they come out, it is exactly the order you're going to pitch. Good luck. Who's going to be the guinea pig? Victor. Luvo. Palisa. Well, and the man who was first for the first time is last this time. There we go. You do have a surprise panel though. Do you want to know? Well, it's not a surprise if I tell you, right? But you, the audience, are going to know shortly as these guys prepare to meet the judges. Now, let me tell you who the judges are. Joining us all the way from Cape Town, it is my privilege to introduce Phuthi Mahanyele-Dabengwa, the CEO of Naspers South Africa.
I think if I were to describe my judging style, I would say that I look for someone that is A, committed, and B, shows potential for success. I'm looking for a pitch from an entrepreneur that can be delivered in the simplest way possible. When you're able to deliver something in the simplest way, you really have found a way to be able to get it out to the consumer in the simplest way. You understand it significantly, and you're able to make more of an impact with it in that way. What made me say yes to participating in Pitch and Polish is having seen the work that has been done over all this time, looking at the numbers of entrepreneurs that have been impacted, the opportunity for these entrepreneurs to come and present. The fact that not all of them are winners is different, but just the fact that they have the opportunity to come and present to people who have experience in different sectors is something that is so important. To be able to have this level of confidence that many entrepreneurs typically will not have. And so I think it is a brilliant opportunity for entrepreneurs. I'd like to see Engen Pitch and Polish being able to scale even beyond where it is. And so I'm bringing my A game. You better ensure that you bring your A game. See you there.
Phuthi is joined on our guest panel by Mona Lisa Sem, the Executive Head of Retail Design and Property Management at Vodacom.
I think really, I would say the things that are unseen, right? So that would relate to obviously the kind of questions I would ask, because often entrepreneurs, especially when they've been in a business for a long time, they know it all, right? So it's always good to probe. I mean, we don't expect you to know everything, but at least to understand the mechanics of how you're going to scale your business. So really, I think my speciality in understanding some real live environments that the entrepreneurs might be exposed to get an understanding of how they view that space in order to get a sense of how prepared and ready they are. I think what's often overlooked is the transformation an entrepreneur actually undergoes when they start and when they finish. So obviously this particular one is a stretch and test in many aspects: pitching, being able to articulate your business and your proposition, and of course, how you're gonna use the prize money. I think articulation for me is a big thing. It's often understated. Articulation, are you able to articulate the purpose and the compelling reason for your business to exist? How are they in their numbers? How do they do their calculations to not oversell or understate? And lastly, I think just the enthusiasm. I love one who's fresh and who's so earnest about a particular opportunity and how they want this opportunity to be catalytic in a new direction. My challenge to you is the idea that there are many ideas, but your idea is unique because you are behind it. And I think if we all, as entrepreneurs, begin to really just focus on what it is that we bring to a business, the why, the purpose, why would it be different if you are running it or if you are evolving an industry, and that should keep you going and keep you articulate about your purpose and your why.
And rounding off our panel of three is Kumaran Padayachi, the CEO of Spartan SME Finance.
Here's some of the things that will impress me out the blocks when I'm looking for in an entrepreneur pitching. The one is that they come across as real and authentic, because you're judging the jockey here, right? So you want as clean as possible as read about that. So that would be one important thing. Two, that they understand the brief that they were given about the pitch, whether it's about knowing their numbers, why they want the money, all of those things. It shows a conscientiousness, ability to hold together and the things that are important for other stakeholders. Third, the ability to answer questions honestly. You know, what is the one thing that will set an entrepreneur apart from anyone else and everything else? Well, there's no holy grail of one thing, but if I had to choose, it would be awareness. For me, awareness, self-awareness is a big, it's a big catch-all and cure. It shows that someone is able to take cues, is able to reflect on mistakes, their own hand in those mistakes. It implies that they will have some humility to be coachable and take feedback in part of their growth path. So it's a singular thing that I find when we are assessing entrepreneurs in our business is where we get very warm. We are involved in the entrepreneurship funding space. This kind of elementary support with this entrepreneur community that Race Corp is dealing with is so important in terms of building that skill for entrepreneurs to think about stakeholders, about funding, and whether they need it or not, it sharpens them, it sharpens their thinking. And so, if I multiply the scale of this process that Race Corp is doing with this, an Engen with the pitch and polish, and the number of years, that level of skill that's happening to get people to think about their business differently has multiple benefits that I'm sure will endure over time. So if I can play a tiny, tiny role in that, it's good. My challenge to you as the entrepreneur pitching in this competition, whether it's to me or other judges or any entrepreneur, is to know. To know what? Starts with knowing yourself. To know yourself, to know your business strategy, to know your numbers, know your target market, and know the audience that you're pitching to. So knowing is important, the depth of knowing. That's the start of the wisdom of all of this. I look forward to seeing you in the pitching arena.
Well, I have to say that is one intimidating panel. Before we get into the pitching, I must explain that tonight's pitches will not affect the actual outcomes of the semi-final round. The entrepreneurial journey tends to throw out numerous curveballs and constantly test your ability to sell yourself and your business. You need to be ready for any surprises, and that's what tonight is all about. Let's see how our first semi-finalist, Victor, acquits himself.
Hi, Victor.
Hi.
You know there's 2 minutes in the surprise panel?
Yeah.
Okay. I just want to make sure you understand you are pitching to some VIPs here, some people who understand business, and are going to be looking at your pitch from a completely different perspective. So over to you, Putty.
Victor, are you ready?
Yeah.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pitch and polish.
Hi, judges. My name is Victor Sables. I'm the owner of an organization called Kathy's Kitchen. I was diagnosed with diabetes type 2, a couple of years ago, more than 10 years now. And I've been struggling to find a decent, healthy, good tasting snack. And I went around and tried various options, and this brought me to the point where I actually started thinking, I'll make my own thing and try it at home. And I tried that, and from there it expanded into the business it is now. We about 250 square meters of factory space at the moment. We've got 6 staff. We're supplying over 50 spas. We've got about 80 health stores that we're supplying at the moment. But my idea is to grow this business into a 2,500 square meter factory floor, supplying all the major retailers in South Africa, into Africa, Australia, Canada, and the US eventually. I've got a 10-year plan for this. I'm on COVID has thrown us a little bit of a curveball because I got started in 2019, but it hasn't managed to close us down. We've survived the drought. We've prospered through that time when other people were closing. So it means there's a demand in the market for our product. When we go into a store, we get repeat business from them all the time. We haven't had one customer tell us, no, we're not interested at this stage. From there, basically, I can tell you that our turnover has doubled from 2020 to 2021 to 2022. The market is obviously increasing, so this is impacting the growth as well. We are picking up new customers as we're going along, but we need to get compliance in place. After compliance, we'll be approaching the major retailers, and then it's going to explode from there. That's really yeah.
Victor, you haven't shared any numbers. Can you tell us something about your revenue base, anything, just so that we get a sense of
So
this
if you look at when I took over, when I started up the business, we started at 16,000 turnover for the first month. Then in the second year, we went up to about 80, 60, thereabouts. Last year, we were still sitting on 80, 60. Now we're doing closer to 190. Our last month now was 190. So if I average it out, we have been doubling last year's. If I look at our graph, our turnover has doubled month on month from last year. There isn't much history, unfortunately, because COVID's tainting the history a little bit.
Victor, you're talking about a growth strategy rollout. Are you relying solely on the demand for the product, or have you implemented some marketing strategies or initiatives to grow awareness of your product?
Okay, so at this stage, I'm relying solely on demand because, as I said, I've got a 10-year plan for this business. So the idea is for this business to fund itself. I haven't put any venture capital into it. I've recovered the money I've invested in it, and it's been able to pay its way from here on out. So part of our strategy is in 2023, 2024, we're going to start a huge marketing campaign once we've got all our compliance in place. We don't want to go out there bragging about something and then get these questions coming back at us. We need to be ready for it. But once we start the marketing, it'll be mainly through the Pick n Pay outlets. The Checkers, we've also spoken to already. We've had one meeting with Pick n Pay. So they are interested. They're just wanting me to get all these other little ducks in a row, and it's going to take me about 6 months to get that done.
What were you doing before this business?
I had another business, which is still running.
What business?
I've got an events company that does work with the state. And I've got a printing business that also does work for the events company and private companies as well. And then I've got a small branding company as well. And prior to, I've been in business for myself since the age of 22.
But you're married?
Yeah.
One wife?
Yeah.
Not
No.
four. How are you going to, where's the focus now with all this 1, 2, 3, 4
Yeah,
wives?
so the other businesses pretty much manage themselves. I've got relationships with the managers that have been with me now for 15 years. The longest one's been 18 years. And the idea, the concept I've put in place with them is that they run the business 100%. They get 50% of the profits and their salary, but no equity. I'm the only one that manages the bank account.
Would you say that those businesses are successful, the ones that you've had?
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
They've been around for 18 years.
Define success for me.
In terms of financial success?
From your perspective?
From my perspective, I'm comfortable with the income it's making. It's managed to put me in a position where I've got 16 properties that I let.
So they're profitable businesses?
No, yeah. We're definitely making money. We're not here for charity now.
So, Victor, I mean, obviously you shared your personal story, and this is, diverting into, shall I say, medical territory, and you've mentioned the compliance. How is it related to the bigger group? Because I don't see the relation between your current businesses and those businesses, because you now need a different strategy and focus from obviously meeting the medical expectations, if I can call it that, especially when you're selling this kind of product.
Yeah, the compliance is food safety specifications that we're looking for. So a lot of people have asked me why I do this.
Yes.
And one of the reasons I'm doing this is a personal issue for me. I'm that type 2 diabetic, and I enjoy the product we make. And I'm saying your body isn't going to change in the next 100 years. People are still going to be exposed to diabetes, but they're getting more diabetics. Diabetes is on the rise. Why? Because there are no alternative products for people to eat, general public as well, that they enjoy. So I said, look, if I can provide you with something that's doing a little bit of preventative maintenance, and people who've got it can eat it because it is actually, well, I think it's nice. But the public out there think it's nice. As I said, we're getting repeat business all the time.
Tell me, this pitch and polish process, whatever has been happening before this, you have been pitching, right?
Yeah.
What is your key reflections from the process itself, if anything?
It's been a different take on it. So I've never done this type of thing before. I've always been able to fund a business by the business funding itself. And I've worked hard to get to that. So this was something new. I was poked into looking at it by Nedbank. My banker said to me, try this and see what happens. And I tried it, and I enjoy the process. It's been enlightening to meet other entrepreneurs and to look at people's viewpoints and the way they see business and how they approach business.
Tell me, how do you intend to scale this business?
Okay, so at the moment, we've got a 250 square meter factory.
Yeah.
And we're manufacturing 4 different lines of product. So we've got 20 variants, but 4 different lines. So I'll just explain that very quickly. We've got seed crackers, health bars, date balls, and granola bites. So the idea would be for next year, once we approach Pick n Pay, we're supplying them with all of that. Our capacity that we have right now, we can cope with 50 Pick n Pay stores, not more than that. Once we've get going with them, the idea would be then to get a 500 square meter unit and break the factory into 2 sections then. Do the one that requires cooking, and there's a product that doesn't require ovens. Then from there is to expand it into the next level where we say, right, 250 square meters just for this production facility, and the next one and the next one.
Thanks, Victor, for coming to your surprise pitch. Just what was interesting for me is you never mentioned what you were going to do with the 650,000 if you won. Afterwards, go look up these people. You might have put some numbers in front of them before. I did allude to that in the dinner, that know the numbers. But thanks for coming through. You may leave.
Thank you.
My concern, guys, and I don't, is that he's running a number of businesses, but I just get a sense of a comfortable guy. I don't see this as a business that will continue to operate successfully if he's not there. The business should be able to continue to operate because it's got strong individuals in there.
This one?
This one, yeah. Because of all these businesses that he's running, but I don't get a sense that, I just get a sense of he's comfortable.
That's not my diagnosis.
Yeah.
I think, you use the word, if I just describe the psyche that's going on, there's a bit of chip on the shoulder. It's not a bad thing because chips put monies in pockets. There's a bit of insecurity which is important for entrepreneurs.
Yeah, of course.
He mentioned the word conservative. He's invested in properties for security. So this is a man that everything is about conservative kind of things. He's got 4 businesses without borrowing, and he's proud of it. But he's realized there's an alternative model, and I'm messing up here a little bit. That's why I asked him about the reflections to see if he's teachable, reflectable. So the 16 properties, not borrowing to date, using the word conservative. There's other 4. Why he didn't give them up is like the fact that he's got someone there and they're paying them a salary plus the 50% of
And
profit.
He's proud of the 18 years.
Yeah, it's got it running. So I don't think he's comfortable. I think he's secured himself. This fourth one now, he realizes has got a bit more legs. It's very formative. It started just in COVID. He's got no numbers to speak of. It can't afford anyone else. But he's talking about a 5-10 year plan, expansion, national. This one seems in his description to have more legs than the other 4 picking little small things. You know what I mean?
It wasn't clear to me how he differentiates himself with this product, but anyway.
No. I think for me, the key word he said there, or phrase, I may not be quoting, he's afraid of debt. That's and he associates funding with debt.
Sure.
And I think that form, if I heard him properly saying, you can get money, but I'm not, it seems like that's not his way of doing things.
But he's
And
open
perhaps
that it's the wrong way.
Yes, yeah. So I think for me, what I'm kind of, why I asked him the question, I don't see him wanting to run this business as a full kind of sector business that he can go into. I think it's one of the many businesses that he's running. And if that works for the model and it grows it to a comfortable scale for him, he will be okay. But then he's shortchanging the business. That's my
I thought that, but I strongly disagree with
Okay.
it.
I honestly
Because
didn't
he's gone to the UK, he went to China, he found out to 400,000 bars or whatever. He's talking in grander terms
But is
about
he
this.
going to run it full time?
Yeah, he would.
But
Because it's a big animal. He's going to be on top of that dragon.
He's got
That's
all
my...
these, yeah, he's got all these other, honestly, I don't get the hunger. Like, yes, he's been to the UK, yes, he's done that. But in terms of just, the gravity of knowledge around this industry, I mean, yes, we understand that it was through his illness and all that. That's wonderful.
There's
but
many
I
like
mean,
it.
Sure, there is.
it's
Many
such a
like
highly
it.
competitive
That's true.
environment,
That's why my concern is that there's no differentiation except his character in the thing. But there's many products like this in the market.
I think that's all we've got time for in the debate. I think it's time for our judges to score.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, our surprise panel didn't seem to put Victor off his stroke at all, although he did have to fill some pretty tough questions. I met up with him at the Meslo Hotel in Sentin to chat about his pitch. To see that interview, head over to the Engen Pitch Polish YouTube channel. Now though, we need to join Luvo as he enters the pitching arena.
Hi, Luva.
Hi, Alan.
Welcome to your surprise pitch. You know you've got 2 minutes.
I didn't know, but
And now you've got 2 minutes, not 3 minutes. And you need to squeeze that all in there. And over to you, Putty.
Luvo, are you ready?
yes, I am.
Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pitch and polish.
Well, in rural communities, we depend on a piece of land for a livelihood. That's for both income and food security. However, the context becomes different when this piece of land becomes too dry and depleted. This is further exacerbated by frequency of bad weather conditions such as drought and climate change. This is a true reality of millions of small-scale farmers in South Africa. Well, judges, my name is Luvo Kukwana. I'm the founder of Green Arch Innovations. We design and franchise aquaponic systems as an alternative to traditional farming methods. Aquaponic systems grows both fish and plants simultaneously without application of soil and using very minimal water. We've designed a unique 300 square meters franchise unit that houses a production capacity of 6,000 fish and 800 plants, with a total revenue potential of 450,000 rands after a year with a 40% growth profit margin. We have 2 financing models. One is by partnering with the franchisee to finance the model and they repay us in 3 years' time. The other financing model is where they come with the full funding and then we set up the system and however enter into a supply agreement where we collect the produce from these franchises into the market. Our advantage in our system is that we aggregate produce from all these systems and then sell to the market. Currently operating 3 systems, which have made us to realize a revenue of 3 million last year, and for the quarter of this year, we were able to make about 500,000 rands. We want to grow from the 3 current systems with 50 systems. That will give us a 12 million profit annually. For us to grow, we want to integrate IoT systems that will help us to monetize and collect data from all 50 franchises, and this will make it easy for us to control quality production and as well as understanding parameters within our systems. So, and furthermore, we want to set up a pack house that will help us to store and cool all the aggregated produce in our systems and be able to supply our fresh produce market to the market. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Luvo. So can you just tell us, in terms of where you are now, I've heard the plans on where you want to go. Where, right now, as you said, Green Arch Investments, what do you have right now?
So right now we were able to establish 3 franchises in KZN that are operating within a radius of 100 kilometers.
There's revenue, you said, did I hear you correctly? You said after 12 months it'll reach 450. Is that an annual?
That's an annual revenue from one system.
From one system?
From one system, yeah.
And 40% gross margin, and
yes.
What's your franchise fee?
So our franchise fee, it's initially it was 450,000 to set it up. However, we have integrated IoT systems that I've mentioned, and also to put solar system that will push our franchise cost at 650.
You know, I meant a monthly. Your monthly, is a fee monthly?
So because it's a partnership model, so we charge our franchisees a subscription fee for the model of 1,000. But the biggest advantage is that we enter into a supply agreement. We supply them with seedlings to grow crops. We supply them with fish feed as well to grow the fish. So we make revenue through selling them with fish feed and selling to them seedlings, and then we also make profit from the capex to establish the franchise.
Luvo, you spoke about, I mean, your ambition is 50 franchisees. What's the plan? How are you going to get them? Or do they know about you? How are they going to get funding to?
Oh, yes. So part of our customer acquisition strategies, we attend agricultural seminars. And through the seminars that we've hosted and attended, we're able to have currently we have 100 farmers on our database. But however, we want to conduct data analysis. And then from the pool of 100, of which is increasing, we want to start with only 50.
Because 50, because they have an interest, or they have financial...
So we have 100 right now in our database who have interest, who want to uptake aquaponic systems, and they've attended one of our training programs as well.
Do they have the funding to buy your product?
So others, they seeking for funding. But for those who don't have funding, we enter into a partnership, and then we had a 60-40 share profit ratio for us to recover our setup cost.
Okay.
So I'm looking to develop such a business. How do I qualify to be one of your franchisees?
Okay, so one of the requisites for one to qualify, one, you have to have land. And then that's one key element that
you have to own the land, or
you have to own the land.
Yeah.
Yes, you have to own the land, and also it can any space that is 300 square meters. To be quite frank,
is there a size?
300 square meters.
Preference?
Yes, 300 square meter size. That's a minimum that we set up. Yes. Also, you have to access to electricity, and then access to water as a startup. But eventually, Pisoka system is a recirculating system. You only need once water into the uptake of the system, and hence from there it is a recirculating system. So one, you have to have water, land, and also you have to have the interest in uptaking our franchise model, but also we do provide comprehensive training for you to understand the concept of the operations and as well the finances of the project.
Sorry, Luvo, I'm a little bit stuck.
Okay.
You spoke about a 12 million annual profit. Is that
yes.
correct? How, I can't see how we're getting to this. That's I'm stuck there. Help me.
Okay. So I said we're moving from one franchise to 50 franchise, exactly, yes. So I mentioned that we having a revenue potential of 450,000 rands. That's the revenue output from one system with a gross net profit of 40%. And then from that, we are able to make profits from each franchise system, and then collectively, that's the 12 million profit that we make collectively from all these franchise systems.
When you have 50?
When we have 50,
Okay.
yes, that's a profit annually, yes.
What's your reason for franchising?
Okay, I'm from rural communities. I think part of my interest is to integrate rural communities into the agricultural economy. However, hence I've mentioned some challenges that the land is an issue in terms of the quality for them to produce quality crops. And aquaponics is an alternative solution to traditional farming methods. However, if I were to establish a scale of this size I'm going to do in aggregated projects, I would need a huge capex to start the production that can be equivalent to what I'm willing to have now. But the cost for land is very high. Also, the cost that were to establish the infrastructure for one system than can have massive production. It's very difficult to do that. And then also I'm spreading the risk. So if I were to have a production capacity of 50 in one project, if I am hit by load shedding or if water contamination in my water, I'm losing the entire production. But now I'm spreading my risk in terms of finances. I'm spreading my risk as well in terms of land acquisition costs, and also even to the financiers as well. It's attractive because they're spreading the risk financially to each individual. So the franchise model, it makes us profitable, but also it spreads our risks in terms of losing profits. And furthermore, we're participating with landowners who before didn't have advantages to utilize the land, or either people who had land that is enabling them to grow crops. Just to quickly make an example, in case
I'm going to have to cut you there. The judges need to see all your competition, and they have to debate this. So, Luva, thank you. I didn't hear what you were going to do with the 650, but maybe they did. But you may leave.
Thank you.
Guys, I don't know whether maybe it's just this one, but I'm struggling with understanding the particular model in how it's going to achieve the financial ambitions. Because, I mean, that's why I asked the question, how are they going to fund? They need to invest, right, as those farmers. And coming from, and I may just be speculating, these farmers are in the rural areas. Are there business cases that they're going to need to submit to secure the funding? So I'm stuck a little bit, but I love the concept in terms of what its purpose is. But the financial modeling, I'm battling a bit.
The sense that I get, I mean, these are small businesses. And so from that perspective, I think financially, it's probably not that much of the sense that I get is that's not that much of a big, yeah. I like the fact that it's a franchise model. Because it affords more people the opportunity, but also he can get a sense of partnering with people who can potentially really make this a success. What I wanted to know was how long he's had this franchise model.
The 3 years that he's got,
yeah, and the success of the 3 existing as well. But, it depends on him as a franchisor. Yeah.
The numbers part is where I was just writing down and then hung up. At 50 franchises at 450 per annum per year, that's about, I think it's about 20 million rand revenue a year.
And then he's got the 40%.
A lot of complexity for a small revenue.
Yeah.
No, 450 was the setup cost.
No, he said 450. They asked him specifically. Revenue as well.
Revenue. Yeah.
So that's 20 million rand a year. He says the franchisee will make a 40% gross. So that's 8 million rand.
Yeah.
And then he said he makes out of that 12 million.
12 million. Yeah, he did say 12.
The logic doesn't compute for me there.
That's why I was saying
because if it's 20 million, they're going to sell to him for 20 because he's buying from them. They're going to make 8 of the 20. His then cost is 12. Maybe we didn't give him the opportunity, but it doesn't. I'm not understanding that.
He's got good points about why the franchising model works, right? In terms of cost of land acquisition, spreading risk. I understand that, but I'm just not too sure whether the franchising model is the solution, the full-time solution to what his ambitions from a financial perspective are. Is my preliminary review.
Yeah, he gave a good response in terms of the spreading the risk on water and all of that. The land acquisition costs, you can rent land quite easily today, so that's not a big one. The capital type of thing, you're weighing up borrowing 20 million rand in phases, which is a lot but not a lot, versus the complexity of managing 50 different kitchens around
and ensuring that they give you the produce that you're relying for revenue for.
But remember, these are franchised.
Yes.
So they've got their own owners. Yes. So those owners want to see success in their own little farm, whatever they've got, right? So, so I think you've got shared risk. So from a risk perspective, he's if they're managing it properly, he's got an opportunity to do well out of that. But, and success is the ability to scale that, So I see some significant potential here. Would you put your money in it?
I have no doubt about the potential. It's the model that I'm questioning. I'm questioning.
His commercial sense, I'm not. His money commercial sense, I'm not he's not quite astute in that. What's his background? Do we know?
He's academically, he comes from this training
Agriculture.
from
So
the
it's more
agricultural.
Yeah.
Okay.
From my perspective, he actually came across better than the previous guy, because he actually even mentioned the numbers. You know, it was.
So it comes freely, yeah.
Yeah, we didn't have to suck them
Probe,
out
yeah.
of him. So that was a good sign for me, the fact that he's commercially aware of what he's doing. We'd need him to explain that.
The complexity. I think
Yeah.
the complexity of the model,
Yeah.
that's question,
Yeah.
insofar as what he's aspiring to, but the potential
Yeah.
of the business is there.
If our semi-finalists thought they were going to have an easy ride with our surprise panel, I think we can confidently say that they were wrong. Head over to the Engen Pitch and Polish YouTube channel to see my post-pitch interview with Luvo after tonight's episode. We have reached the halfway mark of our pitches, so I think this is a good time for our viewer prize giveaway. Tonight, we're giving away an Evo Super Shop voucher worth 5,000 Rand, courtesy of Nedbank. The Evo Super Shop allows you to shop anything from home living, takeaways, groceries, prepaids, and more, no matter who you bank with. To get your hands on this incredible prize, head over to the Engen Pitch and Polish Facebook page and post your answer to the question we are showing on the screen now. Of what company is Phuthi Mahanyele-Dabengwa the CEO? Of what company is Phuthi Mahanyele-Dabengwa the CEO? Make sure you post your answer before midnight tonight to be entered into our random draw. We'll post the winners on Facebook before 5 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. In the meantime, it's time to get back into the pitching action. The third contestant to face the guest judges is Palesa. Let's see how she does.
Hi, Palesa.
Hello.
So this is your surprise panel today. You're going to be pitching to a surprise panel. So over to you, Phuthi.
Palesa, are you ready?
I'm ready.
In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, pitch and polish.
Hello, beautiful people. My name is Palesa, and I am a co-founder at Agricool, Agriculture Schooler startup. Did you know that Africans are spending up to 50% of their disposable income buying food? This is versus 10% in developed countries. Why is this so? Africa's value chains are very inefficient, and this is because there's too many intermediaries and key players are operating in silos. This means that Dion, a senior buyer at Boxer, he speaks to 2 or 3 people before he can directly source produce from Zandile, a producer of cabbage and spinach. Zandile will also struggle to find affordable and reliable transport to take her goods to a retailer. Agricool solves this problem. We are an e-marketplace that directly links buyers, growers, and transporters of food and agricultural goods to a fair and reliable market. We aggregate demand from our various retailers and convert that demand into market access for our farmers. Depending on the type of produce, we either charge 6% commission on the value of the transaction, or we buy at a markup and sell. Something that's interesting that's also started happening with us is we have partnered with the Agricultural Research Council to assist them as their private partner in a research study among small-scale farmers. This is great because we want to build the farmers that are going to supply us. In the second quarter of 2022, we transacted goods worth 1.8 million, down from 3.1 million we transacted in quarter 1. This highlights the seasonality of our company. Our growth should be accompanied by profitability, by improving our supply base and our technology.
Okay, thank you very much. So tell me, what is the revenue base of the business now?
The revenue base meaning our turnover, or
Yes, your turnover.
for the year or
The year.
a month? So in the last financial year we did, which ended in April this year, we did 4.9 million.
And how many agricultural entities do you have on your platform?
We have about 8 retailers that we supply. We've worked with more than 200 farmers, But on a typical month, we're probably sourcing from 20 farmers. Then we also have about 8 logistics partners.
And where's your concentration in terms of geographic? Where is the business based?
We're operating in KZN.
Okay.
Most of our farmers are in the Midlands region, and our buyers are in Pietermaritzburg down to Durban.
And what are the current challenges that you have encountered in your business thus far?
Big challenges is quality assurance. So we have like an embarrassing amount of rejections, especially the higher end retailers. They're very strict. So we lose money on the goods we bought, even if we can recoup that, the transport. So that's a problem. And then also the high cost of transportation. But the biggest problem is not having enough supply or farmers to service our demand.
Who are the owners of this business?
So I am a shareholder, and Zamoguhle Twala, my partner, is also another shareholder.
Okay, cool. And who started it?
Zamoguhle started it.
And when did you get involved?
I joined last year, May.
Oh, right.
Just over a year.
And what is the equity split between you?
Right now, I own 15%.
You own 15?
Yes.
Okay. And did you start off owning 15%?
No, I started off owning 0.
Okay. And how long ago was that?
I joined in May. I acquired about 2% within maybe 4 months.
So you bought into it?
It's I didn't use cash. It's I'd say sweat
Through your
equity.
skills.
Okay,
Yes,
intellectual.
my skills,
All right.
yeah.
But why is the 85% shareholder not here?
I'm here because I can answer these questions, and I'm in charge of growing this company.
But the majority shareholder, I mean, do you guys work closely together? Are they involved in the business?
Yes, of course. He's the CEO and I'm the COO.
Okay.
All right, all right.
I'm going to ask a question. So you say 4.9 million and you make 6% on that is your GP, your gross profit. Is that right?
It depends on the time of the year.
Yeah.
So our high value crops, butternut, tomato, green peppers, which we transact in summer, then most of those transactions are commission, where we take 6%. Our low value goods like cabbage, spinach, which we transact throughout the year and mostly in winter, we buy and sell because the margins are low. So we want to control how much we can make from it.
Can I just ask a question, just as a follow-up? If we had, if I wanted to offer to invest into your business, can you make a call with respect to that as a 15% shareholder without
Yes.
your 85% shareholder?
I can make a call, but we have to discuss it the same as him. He would need to discuss with me.
Balisa, sorry, I'm going to perhaps go back to one of the questions I asked you, the challenges. So the risk is when you buy product that you're not sure is going to be accepted, I guess, from quality standards. What measures are you putting in place just to reduce the quality assurance problems?
The first measure is, one of the reasons we introduced the commission model. If we buy and sell, as soon as we buy, we own the stock. So if something happens, then it's us that lose those cost of goods. With the commission model, the farmer is directly transacting with the buyer. We tell the farmer the buyer's price. So if the goods are not good enough and they get rejected, it's the farmer must pay for it, and he must pay for transport. So that's one mechanism. The second mechanism is training farmers and assisting them. The first time they transact with us, maybe the first 3 times, we will send our ops manager there. And if it's a new product line, even with this old farmer, we're there to show them. After some time, they start understanding the specs for each different type of retailer, and then we don't need to be there.
And you've been able to reach 200 farmers.
Yes, it gets easy, especially if you work with small-scale farmers. In summer, we can be buying from 50 at a time.
Okay.
Yes.
Sorry, Kumaran, we have to leave some time for debate, so I'm going to have to ask Balesa to go.
Okay.
Thank you, Balesa.
Thank you so
may leave.
much.
Thank you.
All right, what do you guys think?
It's odd that the 85% CEO is not here. would have understood if they're both here together, but not that person.
The
not here.
minority shareholder.
Something is wrong with that.
And she's not confident. The fact that she had that piece of, this is her business. She can speak to it.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. The fact that she had to actually,
Refer
there's
to
something,
notes.
yeah.
Look, they need to, that's 300 grand is their revenue,
Well, that's what she says.
right? Because the 4.9 is not really the turnover,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So you have to do 50 million rand just to make a 3 million rand turnover for the year in net effect. But that's a lot of scale
I don't know.
to earn so.
Did she mention what she'd use the 650 for? I don't
No,
know if
she didn't.
And also, I wasn't from this pitch. I didn't understand the overhead, because you can make if you're making 250 and the overhead's 1,000, that's fine. But the overhead's definitely not 1,000 or the 300,000.
Look, she didn't come across as confident. She didn't, she was nervous.
You wouldn't have been able to.
She seemed rattled.
Sorry, I didn't feel that I would have been able to ask her in-depth questions.
Yeah.
Because I think for me, compared to
You
the
could
other
see she's not going to
contestants,
answer.
No.
The other two
She's
were
not
able
gonna
to answer.
answer.
It's their business.
Yeah. I'm
So-
surprised she made it this far.
Yeah.
I'd
me
rather
too.
us do scoring now and save time to have a chocolate. Okay.
Yeah.
Palesa was clearly a little shaken, and who can blame her? Our judges are pulling no punches this evening. Don't forget that if you want to find out what Palesa thought about the experience, you can head over to our YouTube channel to watch her post-pitch interview there. And that brings us to the fourth and final pitch of the evening. Lucky is heading in to face the judges now. Let's see how he does.
Hi there, Lucky.
Hello.
So, Lucky, this is your surprise panel, your surprise pitch. In front of you, you have an esteemed panel. So they're all coming from different angles. Mona Lisa is particularly interested in your pitch because there's some relativity there about you in the real estate business. And I know Kamaran dabbles in real estate as well, so he's got an interest and understands that as well. So you understand there's 2 minutes?
Very much so.
Okay, over to you, Putty.
Lucky, are you ready?
Yes.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pitch and polish.
Hi judges, my name is Lucky Mnigati from Ikahlamba Trading Enterprise. I'm in the business of highly sustainable and profitable business of student accommodation. Currently there's an addressable business of 7,000 beds in Pietermaritzburg, which translates into 22 million rands per annum. But currently I'm housing 220 students with the contracts from the university. I have an income of 7.7 million rands per annum with the running cost of 352,000 rands a month. I have an arrangement with a lease to buy agreement with the landlords. So currently, as I've said, I'm accommodating 220 students, which gives me an income of 7.7 million per annum. I have a team of expertise who are in the buildings who attends to all issues as quickly as possible. I've got buildings which are 24-hour secured cameras as well as the fingerprint matrix system so that the security is catered for. With the winning from 650,000 rands from this business here, I stand an opportunity to add 40 more additional beds, which will give me an income of 120,000 rand over and above of what I'm getting here, which will translate into 1.4 million over and above the 7.7 that I'm currently making. The portion that will be done will enable me to push my income into a 9.2 million rand turnover per annum, 9.2 million rands turnover an annum with a profit of 4.5 million rands a month. There are challenges. One thing that keeps me awake at night is potential damage of property and fire. However, I've got buildings that are fire compliant and I've got insurance policy that covers the building for 10 million rands.
Okay. So, Lucky, the 7.7 million, that's a revenue.
Yes.
What is the profitability on that?
It's 3.4 million rands.
It's 3.4
per annum.
Okay. All right.
And then, sorry, Lucky, just maybe take me through, the renovation aspects and the accommodation of the beds and how that works? I mean, what is your most viable square meter in order to achieve what it is that you need to?
The university has got its own standards.
Okay.
Which is for a standard room, it's a 8.8 square meters building, which will accommodate between 1 and 2 students. Then it depends on the size of the building. But some universities will take up to up to 3 students per room.
Okay.
Yes.
So, so the model is based on the number of beds is what it derives your revenue?
Yes.
Okay, and your renovation cost, do you cover that or does the university or your lab?
I cover the renovation cost.
Okay,
yes.
All right. And what efficiencies have you found in your renovation regimes in trying to reduce your costs?
Can you come again?
How do you reduce your costs to renovate?
I usually, I've got, the university send their own people, one administrator who looks at the conduct of the students. I've got in-source people who do the renovations, even if there's nothing that requires us to renovate. They look around and check, even before then the renovations requires bigger expenditures.
Okay.
I assume, I know with the student accommodation, it has to meet certain standards, sizes, what comes in the room and all of that. Otherwise, the university will not sign and offer you the lease.
Yes.
Yours complies with those gazetted standards.
Yes, that's why I've got a 3-year contract.
Right. How many years are you in the 3-year contract?
I'm in the second cycle of the second. I'm in the second cycle of 3 years, but this is my first year of the second cycle.
These buildings, you rent them. You don't do an option to buy?
I've got a lease to buy agreement. But I started unfortunately just before the COVID. Then when COVID started, then we had to rearrange the agreement with the owners of the buildings. But I've got my deposit sitting on their side.
Deposit?
Yes.
How many occupants do you have per leased room?
Per room or per the building?
Per room.
Per room.
As I've said, it depends on the size, between 1 and 3. There are rooms that can take 1 student, and then the other rooms can take up to 3 students.
And if it's 3 students, is it 3 students that have leases with you? Or, what is the arrangement?
Yeah.
Or do they make an arrangement between themselves?
No, what happens, I prepare the building. This room has got 1 room, 2 rooms, and 3. Then what the university does, it allocates 120
No, but
students.
NAFSAS, the students are not paying you directly.
No,
that's the question. It's
not
via NAFSAS, right?
Yeah, I've got a contract with the university. NSFAS pays the university, then I get paid.
As agent.
But that's new now.
Yes.
That wasn't before.
Yeah, it's new now because when NSFAS have discovered that when they pay the students, they take the money and put in their pockets, and then there's trouble with the landlords and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
How many universities are you working with? Is it just this one university, Durban University?
For now, I'm working with DUT,
Yeah.
but there's 2 in KZN. So, in Pietermaritzburg.
Yeah.
Yes, in Pietermaritzburg. This 7,000 addressable market is for DUT alone. I haven't done any
No, I'm
business.
talking about your business.
Your
So
current,
you've got
I've got 2 contracts.
campuses.
I've got 2 businesses.
Yeah.
I've got 2 buildings with 1 university.
One university, okay.
Okay, oh, I see.
All right, thanks, Lucky. It's time for the judges to debate. You may leave.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, it actually sounds to me like the 3 students per room. It doesn't sound.
It's
like
legal.
It's nothing.
From what I know of the sector, it's gazetted.
Yeah.
The size of rooms, the students, and what you're meant to have in there.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't, and the lease agreements all state that, and the universities all check that.
Yeah.
So it is a combined model, but it complies.
Yeah, yeah.
The only way he's not complying is if he's giving a brown envelope to someone. I don't get that sense.
I also didn't. Yeah, I didn't. Yeah.
So I wouldn't penalize. There's nothing to penalize.
Yeah, me neither. Your sense?
My sense, I think, insofar as I didn't get the part about the profitability, how he gets to those numbers. I did get a little bit, I might just be having a slow day. But in terms of the offering, the opportunity, he's talking about the sizable market, 7,700 beds. He's currently on 200. So he's got a growth as per, and he spoke about how he would, for example, the 650K takes him to 1.4 million rand revenue. So he's got a sizable market that he's targeting. I don't know if that's purely for KZN or other markets.
He said that 7,000 was
from
is for Pietermaritzburg with just DUT.
Okay.
Even though there's another university which is UKZN also in that town.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay,
No,
so that's KZN alone.
Yeah, no, he clearly said that.
Okay.
About
All
that.
right.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, time to score.
Yeah.
Just like with our 3 semi-finalists, our guest judges did not give Lucky an easy ride in there. He joined me afterwards at the Meslo Hotel to share his thoughts about tonight's pitch. Head over to our YouTube channel to watch his post-pitch interview. But first, stick around. I'm about to have a chat with Puti, Mona Lisa and Kumaran to find out their thoughts about the pitches tonight and who they would invest in. Hello, judges. Good to see you. And thank you for coming. How was this experience? Mona?
Wow, quite interesting. I mean, I think there's just so much diversity within the contestants in what they understand about their business and what they want to put forward as aspirations. So really, really diverse and interesting. So quite a difficult one to rank for me.
Did they meet expectations, Kumaran?
Somewhat. Some did. Some were a bit disappointing, but that's to be expected in a process like this.
Puti, is this a kind of competition that reveals really the reality of entrepreneurship that we're dealing with in this country?
100%. Because I think each of the contestants showed us the experiences that they are going through and how they're overcoming those challenges that they face. So I think it's a very relevant competition and it boosts the confidence. One of the contestants mentioned the fact that he heard about this from his banker and that's how he came onto this. So it speaks also to the credibility of the competition.
Okay, let's cut to the chase. Kumaran, who are your top 2?
The first one would be Lucky, and the second one would be Victor.
Who are your bottom 2?
Oh gosh, Palisa, bottom 2, as well as Lucky.
And Puti, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Sure. I have got Lucky, I've got Luvo, and I've got Victor.
Thank you very much, judges. What amazing feedback from an equally amazing panel of judges. But you will have to join us next week for the first semi-final to find out if their rankings align with the decisions of our resident panel of judges. From me, Rems Mabote, good night and God bless.